So kind of looking, at your MRI, I think you have basically two different things going on, okay? One is you have a disc herniation, okay, which you can actually see right here. Okay, you see this kind of big blob right there? Okay. Now, this is a picture of your back as if I were cutting you right down the middle of your body and then looking at you from the side, okay? So this is like where I was pushing on your back, that's where I was pushing, okay? This is if I were to push on your stomach, okay? This is if I were to pat you on the bottom, this is if I were to pat you on the top of the head. And obviously we're missing the rest of your spine, okay? And now this is if I am taking this now and cutting it like a loaf of bread. Okay, does that kind of make sense?
Yep.
So same thing. So this is in the back as if I were pushing on you here. Okay. And so as we scroll up and down, so if we get to this area, so you see right through here. So this is where that disc herniation is. Okay, right here. And that does, white stuff here. So the white, you see these kind of little gray dots right here.
Mm-hmm.
So the gray dots are the individual nerves. The white stuff is spinal fluid. So you want to see a healthy amount of spinal fluid up and down the spinal canal because the spinal fluid kind of bathes the nerves, all right? And so as we kind of scroll, what we see is that as we get up to here, you see how all those nerves kind of get pushed into this little area right here, okay? And then there's this disc that's kind of off, a little bit more off to the left side of your body because the left side's on the right side screen, vice versa. And so I think you do have some significant stenosis, which is the medical term for narrowing, at this level. And that's between 5-4, between L3 and L4. Now, that being said, you also, if we look up here, you can kind of get a glimpse of, you see this kind of irregular thing up here?
Mm-hmm.
So this is your sacrum, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st lumbar vertebrae. Then you start to get into your thoracic vertebrae, which is where your ribs come in, okay? So you've got this kind of odd structure here, and if we scroll up, what you'll see is so you see this kind of thing right here?
Mm-hmm.
So there's this odd structure right here that when they got the additional scan, if you look at it here, you can kind of see it is right, this little bing, see how it looks like a little dot there? Okay. So I don't know what that is. That could be one of two things. My suspicion is what's called a schwannoma, which is basically a benign tumor that arises from some of the nerves in the back, or in the spinal canal. It's actually within the spinal canal itself, meaning you have the lining of you have basically bone and ligaments, then you have something called the dura, which is the lining of the spinal canal, and then beneath that is where all the individual nerves and the spinal fluid lives and all those things. So it's kind of like a saran wrap around those things.
Okay.
And this structure looks like it's actually sitting within the spinal canal, so within the dura. So we'd have to open up that saran wrap to see what that is. Okay. So my suspicion is that your discomfort, especially the numbness that you're getting when you're walking, is probably a combination of both of these things, and that this is causing compression, and then also this is causing compression. So, my suspicion would be, what I would probably recommend for you is basically, in a way, kind of two separate surgeries that we could probably do at the same time, okay? One surgery would be to go in and just do a simple discectomy, okay, where we basically make some more room for the nerves here and then remove some of that disc to try and get some more space for you here, okay? That's pretty standard kind of run-of-the-mill neurosurgery. These are less common, I would say, but I would also probably recommend that we go in and try and remove whatever this is, to also, because, at 51, you're still pretty young. If this is a schwannoma, it's likely a very slow-growing tumor that's been there for years, but over time they can get a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, and then can start to cause problems. I don't know which one you are more symptomatic from. That's the hard thing for me to figure out, because when you say, like, if you walk and it's kind of like you said, numbness from like here down, that makes me think probably more symptomatic from here, although this level could definitely give you some numbness, usually a little bit further down in the thighs, but certainly could cause that too. So, it's a little fascinating that you have kind of two separate things going on.
Oh, I'm always going to do something weird if I do something, so.
Yeah, so I think that's, those two things could certainly be the cause of a lot of the symptoms you're having. You do also have some degenerative disease, throughout your spine, which is not unexpected. So, you know, you can kind of see you've got, you know, a little bit of some degenerative disease here, you know, and those type of things. So I think that these are likely the culprits, you know, but the arthritis in your back in and of itself could cause back pain and that kind of,
And-
yeah,
You know, I mean, yeah, my back gets sore.
yeah,
That's normal.
Yeah.
This is not the same
yeah,
pain
yeah,
that my back's
Yeah.
tired or, you know, I've
Yeah.
overexerted
Yeah.
or, you know, a little sciatica.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
rub it.
So yeah, so I mean, I think that either one of these things could certainly cause back discomfort, back pain. How much one or the other is responsible for the symptoms is hard for me to say,
Okay.
which is probably why I would recommend we do surgery on both.
Okay.
I mean, you know, the other option is that we could stage them and we could basically do the discectomy, let you recover from the discectomy, see how you're feeling from that, and then come back later and do this, you know, in a couple weeks once you've recovered. You know, those are both also reasonable options too, because it's less time under anesthesia per session. It gives you a chance to kind of recuperate from one and then come back and do the remainder, make sure you're healing up okay from the first one.
Being pretty healthy and not
Mhm.
having any issues, I'd personally rather just get it over with.
Yeah.
If-
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that that's probably a reasonable option too.
Okay.
You know, the anesthetic itself is a little longer though, obviously. You know, this, and then again, like I said, I don't know what this is gonna be once we get in here.
Yeah.
And so that could take, you know, not an insubstantial amount of time to kind of try and separate that from the nerves. Obviously, there's always risk of injuring nerves when we're working around the nerves, okay? You know, I can leave you with weakness, you know, numbness, tingling, pain down the legs, bowel and bladder problems. All those things are possible with surgery, okay? You know, like I said, weakness in the legs certainly could happen as a result of any type of spinal surgery where you're working around the nerves. There's a risk of spinal fluid leak, okay? And that's because we are likely going to have to open up that lining of the spinal canal here to get access to that. And then at the end of the surgery, we stitch that all back up, but certainly sometimes that can still leak. And we usually put like a little, almost like a glue material on there to try and help keep that healing well.
Mhm.
But that may mean you need more surgeries in the future to go back in and deal with that. You know, so ultimately, I think you have a good reason to have the symptoms that you're having based on these two findings, and those are kind of my thoughts. So
Okay. I mean, I'm not super excited about surgery,
Yeah.
but I can't stay the way I
yeah,
am.
yeah,
This is miserable.
yeah, okay. So yeah, so I think so. What we'll do is we'll. Do you have a time frame for when you'd like to try and get this? I know you sounds like
How long is
Roslyn's
the
out of town.
recovery period?
Well, we're going to do both at the same time, I mean, I would usually say anywhere about 6 weeks to 3 months of kind of recuperating. That doesn't mean like you're bed bound. It just means like taking it easy. We don't want you doing heavy lifting, you know, especially with the spinal fluid one, because we want that to really scar in and form a good scar. So you know, so those are you know, certainly considerations. But yeah, I would say 6 weeks on the sooner side of things. And then probably more like 3 months is when I usually feel comfortable saying, okay, if you've healed up well, you know, you don't have any infections or anything that have developed, then you know, usually you're hopefully okay to go back to normal activities.
Okay. Wow. I kind of feel like I almost don't have a choice because, like I said, I can't.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know,
I
like I
can't
said, I
keep
mean,
going
yeah, you
with
definitely
this.
have a substantial amount of narrowing there, you know, especially from that disc. And so, you know, the surgery basically entails where we come in from the back and we remove a portion of the bone in the back. That's called the laminotomy.
I've read everything.
Yeah, yeah, or laminectomy and then a discectomy. In your case, you know, I'm torn on whether or not to do kind of a wider, you know, kind of more of a full laminectomy here, just because of the amount of narrowing you do have. I'd probably recommend that we do kind of more of a wider laminectomy here to give you kind of more room just in general, as opposed to just coming on the side from one side. And then, you know, here would be kind of also a full laminectomy, you know, where we remove some of that bone to get access there, that we have a lot of room to work and move the nerves around and things without putting a lot of tension on them. So you know, my suspicion would be, you know, sacrum 5-4, so L3, L4 laminectomy and discectomy, and then sacrum 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, L1. Probably a portion of L2, if not all in all too. And sometimes we even have to take a little bit of T12, which is the first thoracic one, to make sure we've got enough room to work.
Okay.
Laminectomy for resection of lesion. Okay.
Typically, I go back to work February 1st.
Okay.
I don't see that happening, so
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
to me, the sooner the better.
Okay. Okay.
So I don't miss all of
Yeah.
show season.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll try and get you on the schedule as soon as possible. Okay.
And what do you?
Well, I mean, we could probably get you on. I'll talk with Debbie, my scheduler, who's here today, and we'll see if we can get you on. Hopefully maybe like Monday,
Oh, okay.
potentially. If I don't know.
I
if
just
you're-
I've had to wait so long for
Yeah.
everything through
Yeah,
this
yeah.
that.
Yeah, and so we'll see if we can get you on maybe for Monday. Okay.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, it's nice to meet you.
Nice
okay.
to meet you
And
too.
obviously, if you have any questions, I don't want to force you to surgery. So if you have any questions that
No,
pop up, give us a holler. I don't know when your husband gets back. If you want to bring him back in to talk with me, I'm happy to do that too.
They're in the middle of a shutdown, so we don't have a,
Oh, okay.
a nuclear
Okay.
leak. He probably won't
Oh,
be
geez,
until
yeah.
March.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
So he will be back. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said, if you have any questions that pop up, obviously I don't want to push you out to March if we can avoid it. but,
Yeah, like I said, I'd rather get it done as soon as possible and get back to some sort of normal life
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, okay. Well, give us a second and we'll get all your paperwork. You'll meet with my scheduler, Deb, today, okay?
Okay.
And then we'll go from there. We'll get all the labs and stuff you need drawn and get you on the schedule soon, okay?
Okay.
Okay, all right. It was very nice to meet you, okay?
Thank
All right.
you.
Okay, you're welcome.